What do you buy the YouTuber or the camera or video buff in your life for the holidays? Thanksgiving is literally around the corner, all those Black Friday sales and deals. Here is my ultimate guide to stuff that everybody who's into making videos and taking photos should have. Tools. Everybody needs a camera tool. There's so many of them out there, but the one that I've had for quite some time now is this one from SmallRig. Now, what does this do exactly? Well, it's got a bunch of little hex keys on it, so for unscrewing or screwing in little screws, camera specific ones, for loosening, for tightening tripods, for example. It got a screw, beep, beep, beep. There's a ton of these out there, you know, even Peter McKinnon made one, but this one is from SmallRig. It is very reasonably priced. There's a bunch of these out there, and without a doubt, everybody should have some kind of camera tool, because it'll be the one time you'll need a coin and you're like, I got no money. These things, I leave this in my bag all the time. It never, ever comes out until now. This is for like something in a drawer organizer. Not this, but these. You can get these by the bag on Amazon. They're all little spigots, little screw adapters, mic adapters, GoPro kind of adapters for a normal 1/4 inch thread, things to expand a 1/4 inch screw into a bigger one or a smaller one. All of these things are so handy that you should always have them in your bag, because you never know when you're going to need a tripod or have a piece of gear and you're like, okay, that won't fit into that and I just need to, and then you just screw in the adapter and boom. Keeping with tools. This is something that you're like, what the heck is this? This is the one thing you will absolutely need, but you never thought you would need it. Now, a lot of us, like me, are caught for space. So what I tend to do is I've wall mounted some things, but clamps. You can clamp something like this onto any kind of shelf. There's a ton of these different types of clamps. This one is from SmallRig. You can get stuff from Manfrotto. There's a load of them out there. And here's the thing, there's a 1/4 inch thread on here. So what that means is you can just put a ball head, which also should be in everybody's camera bag, on here, clamp here, and away you go. In fact, right now, I am shooting this video on the Sony FX3, which is on a tiny Manfrotto Magic Arm, which is more or less clamped onto a windowsill. So yeah, these things, super strong. You can get a good grip on these. This has never failed me, neither has the other one. Match it up with a nice little ball head, boom, epic stuff. This, I know what it looks like. It looks like a rocket. Hey, Elon Musk. This is called a rocket blower. This is kind of the official one. This was the first one, I think, out of the gate. It's by a company called Giotto's. What it does is you squeeze it, it blows air, and that's it. And it's great for cleaning your ears, nostrils, want a bit of fresh air into the mouth. But more importantly, it will also clean the dust off of your lens. Or if you're getting your lens off and you're thinking maybe there's a little bit of dust in the sensor, boom, happy days. Absolutely, you should be using this as part of your workflow when you start shooting a video or taking photographs. Those of us who have GoPros will know that they can eat batteries quite a lot. Those of us who have GoPros and batteries will also know that GoPro batteries are small. They're teeny, tweeny, whiny little things, which is fine. However, they do get lost in the bag and they are easy to lose. And then unless you have a dual charger, you have to plug it down. They can be a pain in the butt to charge until now. This has been one of the best purchases I have made this year. This is Maxcam. I think that's the manufacturer. Bought this on Amazon. Check this out. Look at that. Look at that. It holds batteries. See that? Get your GoPro battery, put it in. These are the Enduro batteries, so the bigger batteries. Boom, great. But here's the other thing. It also charges them as well. So you plug this in USB-C, put in your 3 batteries, it'll charge them one after the other, and you just have this ready to go. This thing, my friends, is just amazing. The next thing is absolutely, most definitely for the YouTuber in your life. Maybe it's you, and I am guilty of this, and this should go into your workflow all of the time. This is, it's kind of similar to, yeah. This is a lint roller. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, Vic, why the have you got a lint roller? I don't know about you, but I can be quite dusty, beardy, fluff and lint and this. Every video, roll it down, maybe your arms as well, face, everywhere. Roll this down. Because I guarantee you, you look perfect on camera, like I look perfect right now, but I can't really see because I'm on a small screen and the monitor over there is kind of not showing me the little specks of dust that invariably will show up at 4K on every single video that you make. These things are cheap. This is one from IKEA. Just look, just before you start the video. Quick roll, boom, done. If you buy anything, buy this. One of those lint rollers, they're epic. Speaking of must-haves, lights are an absolute must-have for the camera bag. Yes, you can have your big studio lights and all of that, but something like this, which is from Seymour, but basically it's from SmallRig. This is this tiny P96L RGB video light. It's right now at 100% brightness. And yeah, so this is kind of its white light. It does the color temperature, so you can change it from warm to cool depending on the mode that you're going for. And then, are we ready for this? It's got different colors. So we can change the hue. Look at this. All the colors of the rainbow. You can even change the saturation on it if you want. So you can make your blues or whatever a bit more vibrant. And then, it's not done yet. This is a candle. So let's see what this looks like with the lights off. Turn off the studio. Ooh, look at this. Ooh, yeah, nice and toasty here. This is nuts. Look at this tiny light. So it's got all these different modes. It's got a flame, it's got the police is coming. It's fire truck. It's got an ambulance. Strobe lights, different types of strobe lights. Hey, Armin. Oh, okay. I got a headache. It's tiny. It charges really quickly via USB-C. It's kind of got this hard aluminum metal-y case. It's got a diffuser built on there as well. This thing, have this in your bag, and it's also got a 1/4-inch thread so you can mount it on the actual camera. Audio is really super important. I mean, super important, because we see with our ears as well as our eyes. We're gonna kind of tolerate scratchy video. We're probably not gonna tolerate bad audio for as long as you would think. So even the cheapest of mics, this is Siren. There's all these kind of Chinese offshoot brands from SmallRig and Ulanzi, and these little mics, standard mic jack, plugs in. Most of them come with a dead kitten, which basically allows you to, filter out the wind. Absolute great gift to have in the bag, because you never know when you're going to be out and about, you need to capture some half decent audio. Everybody who's making YouTube videos, for one reason or another, they want it to be cinematic. They want to emulate their YouTube heroes. Hello, hi, I'm one of your or their cinematic heroes, and they want to recreate that cinematic look. Just before I talk about this, please remember, folks, that cinematic is not how something looks, but it's how it feels. Cinema is all about stories. Anyway, to make things look cinematic, you need that 1/50 motion blur. So, you've got motion blur in your scene, which is a natural thing that most people are used to seeing when they're watching TV and movies. You can't achieve motion blur in any camera without ND filters, and there is a whole bunch of ND filters out there. Freewell are one of the companies that have sent me these. So essentially you can go up to like an ND 8, 16, 32, 64, all of those good big numbers. The more numbers, the more light it blocks out, which means the slower is the shutter can go, and I just can't speak English. Here's the thing, if you want to do those fancy waterfall, long exposure photographs, you cannot do it without something like ND filters. So there's kind of 1 or 2 things you really have to keep an eye out for in ND filters. They can be really expensive. For me, I find Freewell really good. They don't pay me to say that. I've bought Freewell stuff. They send me stuff now and again. But you got to keep an eye on the tread size on the lens, and the majority of cameras will have this weird little symbol that shows you a number. That's the tread size on the lens, which allows you to screw in these. Speaking of paying for what you get, I paid a lot of money for this little tripod. Now, a handheld tripod is great for the vlogger in your life, or for anybody actually that is going at some point going to put the camera down. Right now, there is really good Black Friday and discount sales on this particular one. I paid way over the odds at a local store here. Anyway, we won't get into it. But what this does simply is you put your camera in here, and you extend the legs out, and boom, it goes on the table. And you're like, okay, Vic, that's pretty flat, right? Here's the magic on this Manfrotto. There's a little dial here, and if we push that, it doesn't go as flat. And then it's got one more trick up its sleeve. Look at that. And that also gives you more reach when you're out and about with the camera. And then this little dial here, you can move this around whatever way you want. And there's a handy little screw there on this Manfrotto handheld tripod. Now, keeping with things with tripods, it's probably one of the most expensive things that we're going to talk about. And tripods are something that, well, basically anybody who will hold a camera at some point will have to put it down. Chances are they want to put it down on a tripod, and a good tripod is worth every cent. So I know there's loads of cliche sayings like, you know, you pay cheap and you buy it 10 whatever. Pay the money for a good tripod. Ulanzi have sent me this. It's the Ulanzi Coleman F0 tripod, carbon fiber. This thing is super light, super rock solid, and it comes with a kind of a center column that you can replace. You can replace the ball head in it. For example, in this case, I put a small rig ball head on here, but it comes with its own, and it's Falcon quick release as well. So something like a good tripod will last you forever. I've had this out and it's gotten bashed about quite a bit over the last couple of weeks, and this thing is super flexible. I've got a full video review. The link is in the description. This is the best tripod I own. Tripods are kind of like the tires to your car in a sense. They hold you up. They stop the car crashing into the ground. And you want the best possible tires in your car. Have I gone too far with this analogy? Anyway, you don't want a cheap plastic piece of crap holding up your expensive camera that you've saved your butt off for, or the person that you're giving a gift to have saved their butt off for. Do not scrimp on the tripods. Storage is something that we all run out of. You can have as many SD cards in your bag as you want, but unless you have a way of dumping that footage, especially if you're out and about, then you can be in trouble. Tiny, teeny weeny USB-C hard drives. This is the Samsung portable SSD. This is the T7. These things are some of the fastest hard drives on the planet. So you're going to be able to transfer your footage to your computer using USB-C super quick. This is a tech pouch. This thing, I don't even know the brand. I just started searching on Amazon one night, made in China. Started searching on Amazon one night. This thing holds all the cables. Put them all in there, and I always leave the cables in here. So for example, I've got lightning cable, I've got USB-C cable, there's a micro USB for certain camera batteries. You know, I've all these cables in here, and I've even got, look at this, haha, see, another SD card reader, tiny little USB-C one with the micro SD and the SD card. This is a Ugreen. Boom. These things, they don't have to look fancy. All they have to do is zip up, which I can't even do that. I've left a link in the description for everything here, but for this particular one that I bought, I found this really useful. So when you are running out the door, you know that all your cables are in here and whatever other junk you put in, and you can rely on it. So the thing is never to empty it, always refill it or keep it filled. For the person that's got a drone in your life or their life or somebody's life, it needs a case. The case that comes with something like the DJI Mini 3 Pro, it's okay. It's a bit limited because you get the drone in there and the batteries and the controller. But what happens if you want to put ND filters in? What happens if you want to put in, you know, one of those straps that kind of keeps the controller around your neck, all that kind of stuff. You're just like, I need a bit of space. Well, this is a Skyread case. This has been the best case that I've come across online. I'm sure there's lots more since the DJI Mini 3 Pro came out, but there's tons of different ones. Pelican cases, hard cases. It's got like an extended pouch here, so we can get like that in, whatever else you need to get in. These kinds of things are really kind of hyper useful gifts that either for yourself or for somebody that's in your life that you just want to make sure, you know, that they're maximizing their productivity. And that's something that I think everybody, and I've got one more thing, by the way, I've got one more thing, don't go away, I'm not wrapping up the video, don't go away. But that's something that if you have all of this stuff kind of organized, that, you know, you can grab your pouch, have this in the bag, you can just grab the bag and go, or you're not worried about charging, you're not worried about trying to unscrew something because you've got the camera tool, you're not worried if your phone falls because you've got the screen protectors. It just takes the stress out of all of what happens when it comes to making content creation. You can't really put a price on that either for yourself or for somebody that you want to get a holiday gift for. I've left links to all of this stuff on Amazon right now and Ulanzi, and there is a lot of discounts out there, so hopefully you can grab yourself a good deal. Now before I get to the final item here, which is a little bit different, it's probably not something that you're going to have in your tech bag or your carry bag, your camera bag all the time, but before I get to that, just so you guys know, this is gear I use on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. You know, I wouldn't recommend this stuff. I'm sure there probably is better handheld tripods out there, but this is something that I paid for with my own money. It works incredibly well. So these are recommendations from me directly, and just so you know that. Now there is one final thing that is going to be a great gift, I think, for absolutely anybody, and from time to time we all need, how am I going to tidy this up? We all need a little bit of inspiration, and people pull that from YouTube videos, but I do think that you can pull inspiration, particularly in the creative space, from books. I'm not talking audiobooks, big fan of Audible, but I'm not talking Kindle, even though I bought a Kindle, I don't really use it. But yeah, physical books. And for me, one of the most beautiful and inspiring books that I've come across this year is from Chris Burkard. Now, I'm a big fan of Chris Burkard. This is his book called Wayward. If you're into photography, if you want to see how some of the best photographers in the world take photos, if you just want pure inspiration, this is the book. There is phenomenal kind of stories in there. Like, Chris is one of the biggest and best surfing and nature landscape photographers on the face of the earth. Actually, if you look carefully, up there at the very top, I bought the print. I love this book so much. I bought the actual cover. You can buy the prints from his shop. I'm a big fan of this, so I'm a big believer in finding inspiration. Or you could be just thumbing through this and go, oh, that's an interesting angle. I never thought of that before. You know, so find inspiration from wherever you can. For me, this is one of the big inspiring tales of the year. Probably a little bit too big to fit in the camera bag, but nonetheless, this is another one. So that's kind of my first ever holiday gift guide thing, I think. But so it's for you, but more importantly, it's if you're buying gifts for somebody else that's into all of this madness, and these are things that they hopefully will find useful. And at least if they don't want it, you've got to go home for it, right? That was so cheesy. Just end the video.